Everything's working okay?
Everything is absolutely spot on. So over to you.
Great.
Thank you, Andrew.
Great, thank you. Well, hello everyone. It's a privilege to be speaking to you all today. As David mentioned, my name's Andy Jackson and I'm the Global Head of the Service Desk at Fitch Group. Just a quick warning before we get started, there is every chance I will be joined at some point by one or both of my kids. My life is just like that of the BBC News presenter. I'm sure many of you are facing exactly the same thing. So I'd like to talk to you today about some of my experiences on how we've been working to keep our service desk team motivated during the pandemic. I'm sure, just like all of you, the mental well-being of the team has been our top priority. Keeping the team motivated and continuing to provide the best possible service that we can has been a key focus of mine and the rest of the management team. So I'd like to give you a bit of background about me, first of all. As David mentioned, I've worked for various companies. I've always worked in the service desk industry since I've left college many years ago. I've worked first line through to second line, internal support, external support, various other roles, and I've worked my way up to where I am today. My passion is service and ensure anyone that uses our support team are getting the very best possible service. I'd like to also give you a brief overview of our service desk. I hope that this helps you relate to our setup and gives you some idea of our support model. So we have 45 technicians globally. We have a 24/5 follow the sun support model. And we take on average 1,500 calls per month. I'm very pleased to say we have an average of less than 5% abandon rate per month. And we support over 4,500 users globally. Our contact methods are call, email, and self-service, and we will be expanding that this year to web chat and automation. And our entire service desk is currently working remotely. The service desk is strategically critical to the Fitch Group operation, and the mental health of all our colleagues is Fitch Group's highest priority. As I'm sure you would agree, 2020 and the pandemic gave us all some significant challenges, both personally and professionally. The challenge we face as a service desk, I would imagine, have been felt across all service desks globally. I'd like to talk about some of the key challenges that we faced. Again, I'm sure some of you here have faced the same or similar. The sudden changes of processes for the team. There were a large number of processes that changed overnight as soon as we went into lockdown. Some of the biggest changes were to our new hire and leaver processes, how we provision hardware, and how we ensure new hires were set up on time, and how we ensure hardware is collected when someone leaves the firm. We were concerned about the sudden change of working practices and the additional pressure this would put on the team and their morale. The lack of face-to-face team interaction with other team members and business users. The feeling isolated. We were missing the office banter, the ask for help, seeing our friends and colleagues. The teams are very close. I sit in amongst them. And for me personally, this has been very hard. I miss the water cooler chat and for the team to bounce the ideas off each other. Thankfully, we do have Microsoft Teams and we have a global chat for the entire service desk, but this is just not the same. There is, of course, reduced management visibility of the team. We don't micromanage our team. However, we do need to have visibility. That is very important. We did introduce a new phone system back in May 2020, which has helped, and we can now see if the teams are on calls, in meetings, or on lunch. However, we don't, of course, have the same visibility as we would have done in the office. As I mentioned earlier, the entire team is working remote. The team have gone from doing desk visits to fix the more complex issues, having a build room, stock, to having to fix everything remotely. This adds a lot of extra pressure to the team and causes calls to take a lot longer. Of course, there's also an increased workload. At the start of the pandemic, our call volumes skyrocketed while the business got used to the new working environment. Thankfully, things have calmed down to a new norm. But also with the increased workload, we need to ensure the team feel they can get out for exercise, take their regular breaks and lunches. And detaching from work at the end of the day. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. The work is at home. I step away from the desk, help the kids with their dinner, play with them, bath them, put them to bed. Then I see my screensaver still on, check a few emails, a few Teams messages. When do we actually get away from it? Before I know it, another hour's done, then I'm downstairs and I'm still checking on my phone. I don't have that commute that I used to have to detach. And juggling family and home life. Again, this is a challenge for so many people. Some of our team have kids, live with elderly family members, and have to provide care. We have to be flexible. We've noticed that time zones are breaking down. People are working strange hours to get their work completed. And the home environment, working conditions. Do people have a decent desk setup? Are they sitting in noisy locations? Do they have a suitable location that they can work productively in? Recently, I've relocated in my house because the kids are now home learning. I couldn't sit at the dining room table. And also the reliance on technology, home broadband. Now we have team members with other family members at home. They're streaming or gaming. Some of the call quality is not as good as it used to be because of the bandwidth issues. And the demand from the business. Some of the team members were asked to go into the office to ship docking stations and monitors, etc., to users' homes at the start of the pandemic. We had to ensure the team were not feeling this pressure, and we handled each case of this. Why should the service desk be requested to go into the office? We're in the same boat as everyone else. And concerns from the team about going back to the office. Will they be forced to? Concerns about public transport. We're not forcing anyone in. If there are users in the office that require support, then as we know, we can handle that all remotely now. So it's a quick poll I'd just like to ask. It's a very simple yes, no. How many of you here have been experiencing low motivational morale since the pandemic began?
Thank you, Andrew. We're just going to launch that poll. Just wait for that to come up shortly, hopefully.
Thanks, David.
There we go. Okay, so we'll just open that. I'll let you know how that goes. Oh, we're rushing up to 30% already, Andrew. So we'll try and aim again for the 90%, roughly around 90. So if our listeners could give that a click, that would be fantastic. Keep pushing it if you would. Just a few more. I know you want to. There we go. We'll go with that. That's great. Thank you. Okay then, Andrew, we have 81%. And do you know, it's amazing, isn't it? 81% and 19%, 80-20, Pareto. Yes, 81% have experienced low morale. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. That's really interesting. And I guess it's not unexpected. You know, personally, I face it occasionally. You know, we're all human. We all have low and high days. But there are things we're doing in the team to help with this. I'll give you some of my ideas, and hopefully these will help. We've increased team communication. This came up in presentations earlier. I can't stress enough how important communication is. It keeps everyone feeling included as a team, on the same page, and involved in the situation. Personally, I send out a weekly email on a Friday, highlighting the team's successes from the week and providing updates on what's happening the next week. I try to include information from all regions and have other team members add content. It's not all work related either. As mentioned earlier, we also have Microsoft Teams. We really have been encouraging the team to use this platform to bounce ideas off, discuss issues, and also non-work related content. Regular team meetings. I hold a team meeting twice a week with my team leads. The pandemic has made this possible. Due to time zones, before when we're all in the office, it was really hard to get people together. However, now we're all at home, there's more flexibility for people to join. Of course, there's no pressure if it's out of their hours, but it seems everyone is willing to join now. This has helped bring the team together, learn about other cultures, and have an open forum to discuss issues, projects, politics, anything. The team leads also have regular team meetings with their respective teams. Some are daily, others are once per week. It's what works best for that particular team. They do pass the host. There's themed meetings. You know, I've allowed the team leads to run the team meeting I host. They can do it any way they like. Just gives them a bit of empowerment as well. Of course, we accept people have family and pets, and as I said earlier, the kids quite often come up into my team meetings, say hello and wave, etc. It's really given us a good insight into people's lives, and it's actually humanized myself and all the other team members. Be approachable, reassure your team and support them. Always be available. Book one-to-ones with your teams. Check in with the team and be honest with them. Team members may get asked if they have to go into the office, even if they're not comfortable to do so. Where we've had this challenge, we've spoken to the users in question and reassured them that their issues can be resolved remotely where visits are not required. We've held quiz nights. Have been good fun. We've included other teams from other regions on this. We've had games nights, online gaming for some of them, and some people have managed, I can take part in it, but some people have managed to do board games virtually, which was great. Virtual pub nights, I think we had one of them, it's a bit of a blur. Fancy dress Fridays, they go down very well. Joys of kids, I've come out wearing Elsa plats and bits and bobs like that, which has all gone down very well. Also encourage the team to take available holiday. Again, this has come up before today. It's super important that the team have downtime from work. They're sitting at their desk 7.5, 8 hours a day. Some of them are then, it's in their bedroom. You know, they still live at home with family. So there's actually no getting away from it. It's really important. We really pushed this message last year with the team. Even though there was not a lot of things for people to do on holiday, it's still important to have that break. This year, we've started a service desk recognition board. Last year, we had loads of good feedback for the service desk, and obviously we shared that amongst the team, but we wanted to make this publicly available so the entire service desk can see who's getting what feedback. We've put it in our knowledge base, and every time someone, a business user sends back some positive feedback, we paste it up there, tag the person, and share it out amongst the team. This boosts morale. It also gets, you know, a little bit competitive spirit going. You know, maybe someone else wants some decent feedback or positive feedback, so they push a bit harder to try and get that. And online learning. This is something else we've introduced this year. We now have thousands and thousands of courses that the team can take, and it's not specific to their current role. If someone in the team wants to learn AWS or Python or anything like that, then they can absolutely go and register for the course and feel they're being invested in. And it also boosts their morale, it gives them something else to focus on, and hopefully it will develop them as well. And there's also company-wide activities. There are things that we're doing that aren't just specific to the service desk. We've done, there's fitness things, there's cooking, baking, etc., that anyone can do. There's sponsored charity events, there's sponsored walks, you know, where you combine all the miles that everyone's done, etc. We've done Spotify playlists. Even some of the exec team have put up their Spotify playlist for people to listen to, etc. There are many things that can be done to keep the service desk motivated. We've also asked the team to suggest ideas they would like to do, either as a local team or to bring everyone together globally. And we're just collating all that feedback and see what we can do. As I say, that's quite brief about some of the challenges and how we're motivating the team. I hope it's helped you, given you some insight into how we're managing the situation. Please feel free to ask any questions. Alternatively, you can contact me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Andrew. Some really good points there as well. And again, I've been very lucky over the last sort of 4, 5, 6 months to speak, engage with practitioners almost every day, you know, about and listen to what they went through. And I think some of the challenges, as always, anyway, without all this happening, is the time and effort. The time and effort when you've got everything else that you need to achieve. The time and effort to make sure that it's been spent to promote, engage with guys in teams, and to encourage them to take part, and then to keep that going. We talked earlier, didn't we? Hannah talked about the model, and reinforcement might not be the right word in this one, but continuing to keep that effort. So maybe let's touch upon how you manage that with everything going on. How did you keep that going? Did you delegate it? How did you get people to buy into it? Maybe the people who weren't bought into it, and how do you continue to manage all that? Because that was a lot of brilliant stuff. How do you do that?
So we've given some of the quizzes to some of the team members. Thankfully, we have a couple of team members that do pub quizzes, etc. Anyway, so they're naturally good at writing that. We did a big one over Christmas, pulled the service desk together. Personally, I'm booking one-to-ones with all the team this year. I did it last year, catch up with everyone, even if it's just 15 minutes, just to check in. You know, I have obviously my direct reports, which I do regular one-to-ones with, but it's their teams that I want to meet with. We've done, you know, the virtual pub nights have been quite amusing. Various hosts, we just, you know, have a chat, and it's nice to talk non-work related things to people. There is a lot going on, but we have a big team and we can share the workload. Sorry, that's the wrong word. It's not a workload at all. We can share the tasks on this and empower the team to do it. And, you know, there's things, you know, we've got a team in APAC, and the US team aren't really going to be able to join that because the time zone. So that is also the challenge. So that's why we've asked the team to make suggestions on what we can do to try and bring the whole team together, because it is difficult.
And if we've got a couple of questions I'll ask. If you were to put a number, percentage on the whole team internationally, right, and maybe to break it down regionally, out of 100%, how engaged would you say your team was? Either just generally, right, through the way that the organization works, or through I
told you this might happen.
That's great. That's great. Well, she's more than welcome to answer this question, Andrew, right? So how do you, the percentage of engagement, if you like, across the team, right? And then maybe different regions, what is that, what numbers would you put on that?
In terms of sort of the out of work activities or the day-to-day work?
In terms of the team generally, their engagement as people, I suppose, how engaged are they? And you know, what were they like before COVID maybe, and has this helped the engagement, or is it you're very lucky to have built a very engaged team?
We've seen it peak and trough. So some of the teams, you know, the team in APAC, for example, have been in this situation a lot longer. They started at the start of the year in 2020. They've, you know, it's a cultural thing there. They very much get on with the work. You know, we speak to them regularly, but they don't have that as much sort of office banter as we do in London, for example. You know, we have separate messages and things. I think as a team on the whole, the engagement is up there. It did drop, I'll be honest, it dropped sort of around December time. You know, everyone was a bit burnt out. You know, they needed the Christmas break, but then that's when we pick up another activity and get the team going again, try and get them on these quizzes. And we do notice it. You know, we notice that the ticket closures are starting to slow down and things like that. And obviously we meet with each individual and ask them, are you okay? We check in with them. Is there anything we can do to help? And I think that is super important. Build that engagement back up again. And like all these things, it peaks and troughs. Thankfully, the team are very good. We've got an incredible team right now, and everyone's working, you know, the best they can, as hard as they can, to keep Fitch going. And we're getting so much positive feedback, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. Good. We've got a few questions that are coming, and a few of them I've concentrated on one sort of line of questioning. Right, a few of them asked about the recognition board. So. Sure. Can we have some information about that? How does it work? How has it been implemented? That would be fantastic.
Sure. So we use Confluence, Atlassian Confluence, for our internal knowledge base. And within that, we have a page for service desk recognition. And obviously the entire service desk has access to it. When any feedback comes to me, the team leader or director of the techs, we circulate that amongst the management team. We take a print of it, a screen print, we paste it in there, tag the person, and then that also then goes into the Friday email that I send out to say so-and-so has got this feedback, check it out on the recognition board. And then part of this year, the transition, we're doing a digital transformation this year where we're upscaling our self-service and introducing new technologies. And this is also the sort of thing we want to put onto our new internal IT page. We want to present all of this to the business just to show them how well we are doing, along with our stats, and be completely transparent about the service desk.
Good, excellent. No, it does indeed, and I think we've got time just for one more actually. And sure. Paul asks about the motivation of leaders in an organisation. You know, how have you dealt with that? Because are they different things, right? And how have you dealt with the aspect of motivation for staff members and team members and leaders as team managers maybe? How does that work?
Sure, absolutely. So the team managers, obviously, some of their work is quite different to the techs. You know, they will handle more of the escalations, some of the problems, the users that may be getting a bit frustrated because things aren't working. So sometimes their work can also be quite demoralizing. Again, I meet with all my team leads weekly, well, twice a week in a team meeting, but also weekly for one-to-ones to check in with them. You know, I empower them to do some work that isn't necessarily for their role. You know, it gives them insights into other parts of the business and boosts their skill set. If they need time to do personal things, and obviously it's there, we're very, very flexible. You know, we trust our team entirely to do what they need to do and not take liberties. So there's a lot of trust in our team, and I think the big thing for us is to have that open conversation. If one of the team members messages me, you know, I'm there for them day or night, it doesn't matter. And I know my boss is the same for me. We have a very close working relationship, and I can talk to her about anything, any issues that I'm feeling. And I think that is the real big thing, is just these open and honest conversations with your team.
Yeah. That's really good, actually. And again, that harks back to the point, the conversation we had on the last session about the book I've just been reading recently. It's The Courage to be Disliked, and it talks about that if you boil everything down, everything, it is about personal relationships, which is a key cornerstone to I think anything, isn't it? Really, because we are absolutely at the basic level, most basic level, we're a social animal. We are on time, Andrew. Sorry, go on. You're going to say something.
No, all I was going to say is that you spend more time with your work colleagues than you do with your family, or at least pre-COVID. So you need to have those strong relationships at work.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's a whole host of questions to lead on from that in organizations where the cultures may not be as positive as the culture you have there, maybe in broken cultures, and it's a whole different ball game, isn't it? But that's great. Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. Really appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on then. And next, we're going to welcome Angela Reyes. And Angela is Head of Marketing, EU and UK at Freshworks. And Angela will be talking about how leading remote teams or distributed teams, which is obviously another new norm for many leaders, many managers who've had to contend with that in the last 12 months. So I'm really